Hello everyone, welcome back to the Zach GP channel. It is, of course, Zach GP here. Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Back with you for a post-race F1 Fantasy talk. So, heading into this race week, of course, we have Silverstone. But before we talk more about Silverstone, which of course we'll get into over on the FanAmp channel with the Fantasy Formula episode very soon, we have to talk about how well it went for everyone. First of all, can please everyone in the chat whenever they get in, just tell me how the audio levels are looking. Is my mic loud enough? Hopefully the music's in the background. I thought we'd just do a stream with music, so I thought it would be quite fun. But straight off the bat, big talking points from Austria. Piastri still managed to score more than Norris, so my thoughts on final fix of not really being confident in it were correct. Happy with that. We missed out on the Bortoletto call. That's a bit of a shame. However, like I mentioned on Twitter, I'd happily take the Gasly points compared to what it could have been with Sainz, because I think I was looking more towards the differential of Sainz than Bortoletto, so I'm just happy I didn't get that negative 20. How is everyone doing, though? Let me get up the chat so that I can see what everyone's doing. Yeah, and I'd love to know how well everyone's weekend went, because of course I got 25 points, which was great. Yeah. Hey everyone, how you doing? Yeah, 308 Lannister is brilliant. I'm assuming, was that with Bortoletto then? Instead of Gasly, right? I'd bought, yeah. Well done everyone who had Bortoletto. What a call. Hey, we did ask questions of, can he get those 8 points? Well, bloody hell we can. Absolutely incredible. I know. That's another Spain 2025 type calls. And I mean, hey, if anyone also called for Esteban Ocon as well, whew, incredible that would have been. Yeah, no, like I mentioned on Twitter though, that Sainz call was so weird because, like, in F1 Fantasy with those sorts of things, there is no predicting ever that is going to happen. There's DNFs like Verstappen and Antonelli, and then there's what happened to Carlos Sainz, and I mean, he didn't even start the race. How unlucky was it for him and for anyone who had him, really? Like, that's just a straight minus 0.6, but I heard Rain talking about it on Twitter as well, and he does bring up a good point. Sainz will now be down to, what is Sainz down to now? Let's have a look where he is. He's around 7.7, yeah. So what, come Silverstone, he's going to drop down another 7.1. So for Spa, he'll be 7.1. Spa, I'd be surprised if he didn't drop down again. If he has a great weekend at Silverstone, could be a minus 0.2. But let's say it goes down to 7.1, and he still hasn't had a DNF. Imagine in Hungary, Sainz at 7.1 million. That just sounds absolutely phenomenal. I will say, however, though, come Spa, we might be looking at potentially like the cheaper F1 Fantasy drivers, because we're trying to fit in Piastri Russell teams. So keep an eye on that, because I'm very much looking at Lawson. Hopefully he can bounce back and get into our teams for Spa, because he's cheap. Same with Colapinto. Bortoletto, you've got to get on now while you can. But that's the issue. Because Piastri Russell teams are going to be quite hard to get into now coming into the next few races, just because of how the B tier drivers are going. I think I mentioned it a little bit on Twitter, where we used to have Alonso, Bortoletto and Lawson all at 4.5 million. Oh, and Colapinto. And now we only have one, Liam Lawson, at 4.5 million. So it makes the boundary for Russell, Piastri, McLaren, Mercedes teams quite high. So we have to get in those. Luckily for me, where I'm positioned, I only need around 0.4 million difference between all of these budget gainers. So realistically, that's the likes of Hulkenberg going up and then dropping down to someone like a Colapinto who doesn't have the best weekend potentially. We'll see exactly how that works. But yeah, I'm very excited for the weekend. I'll get into a question that I've had in a second, but straight away, you're going to see me talk about this a lot in the fantasy formula, but realistically, my predicted team for the upcoming race weekend will be looking like this for anyone who wants to see. where is my man? There he is. So 5 million in the bank. It's basically, there's nothing else I can do with that budget. It's waiting. And you bring in Hulkenberg and Ocon to get those 0.6 millions. But it's incredible. This team can get you 3.3 million increase in budget. 1.2, 1.8, 2.4, 2.7, 3.3. Like, that will 100% get enough money to get into the Piastri Russell builds. The issue is then, I think for Spa, I will do it because you've got to start looking at points instead of budget. But where's the budget going to be coming in? That's the issue. You guys Silverstone at all? So Jake, yeah. So the fantasy formula, we're all heading to Silverstone. So I can't say too much about anything just because I don't want to step on anyone's toes. Because again, I'm not like the big dog on all the decisions. So I don't want to get on the wrong side of whatever I'm supposed to say and not supposed to say, but we will be there. I know for certain I can say we will be there, and that's the great thing as well. For anyone going Spa, I'll be there more as a fan, but for Spa, I'm going camping for the whole weekend. It's going to be great fun as well. So back-to-back F1 races. I will say, what does that mean? Sadly, this weekend, I'll see what I can do. I'd be very surprised if I could get a post-FP2 video out, considering what it will be like for Silverstone. For Spa, I definitely will because I have a plan. My plan is basically... my plan for Spa, because obviously I don't know how uploading will be at the track and obviously editing and all of that. So my idea is to basically record 4 or 5 different videos of each... different version of what I think FP2 is going to be like, and then put out the one that accustoms to what the results for FP1 and FP2 were. I think that's the best way to do Spa. Yeah, we'll see exactly how I do Silverstone, but I don't be surprised if I can't get one out for Silverstone. Yeah, Piastri could have had the race with better traffic and teamwork, but I mean Colapinto. Colapinto trying to kill Piastri. It was ridiculous. Hey Zach, 288 points, looking for the next team. Seems kind of obvious looking to budget build. Yeah, 100%. It's looking like a big budget weekend for Silverstone. Like, all these 4 drivers on my team here, they all need less than positive points. Well, Ocon needs 0 to go up, but I'm just counting that as negative. So realistically, even with a DNF, like if we go over to the budget building, even with a DNF, you've got the likes of Alonso and Bortoleto. If they crash out at the first part of the race, not first part of the race, if Bortoleto, Alonso, the likes of them, crash out midway through and they've had a few overtakes, they would still actually get probably a 0.2 million increase, which is ridiculous. Absolutely incredible. I can do a double A build, but Piastri, Russell, McLaren, sir, may not be the best one. So that's the thing, Lannister. I'm very much keeping an eye on it for Silverstone because sadly I can't afford to get to it. Like I said, I'm 0.4 off, but Silverstone's going to be cooler. Could be raining, and I think, pardon me, I think that builds right into the Mercedes sort of vibe because it was hot. It was very hot in Austria this weekend. So we'll see exactly how that goes. Yeah, Lannister, I might do that, honestly. That's a good shout. Because also I think YouTube Shorts definitely as well. I can get a very quick, like, this is what I'm thinking sort of style of video out. Sorry. Well, hey, Jake, so that's the thing, innit? So the funny thing is, the what's it called? Our little heat wave ends today. So I'll show you the weather. Weather, Silverstone. So our heat wave ends today, and then look, we're at Tuesday sort of as well, but Monday, it's too hot today. It is too bloody hot today. But then look, instantly it's down to Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It might not be even in the 20s, and that is like Mercedes. Like Mercedes love that. They bloody love it. Yeah, what is the Mercedes price rise? -16. Yeah, so they're still okay for this weekend. It's Spa, where they have to make sure they're 100% good. So no getting disqualified from the race in Spa. I can't afford not Ocon, so I need to put in Behrman or Lawson. Thoughts? Behrman 100%. Lawson, 1 week early for him. If he does another decent weekend, then we all bring him in for Spa and get in that 4.5 million to get to the Mercedes Russell teams. Blah, 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 blah. I had to say that the way budget changes this season's taken away from some of the autonomy of making decisions. Much so, yeah, 100%. I agree. I haven't actually complained about it too much of recent because we've sort of just got into the mix of the season now, so it's kind of been forgotten. But I remember, yeah, right at the start, I was very much like this. Free race average, it doesn't work. I still agree it doesn't work. It should definitely put a lot more weight on the race we've had. So, like, I think what I came down to was I would prefer if it was weighted like 50, 30, 20, anything like that. So 50% for the race upcoming, 30% for the race that we just had, and 20% for the race we had prior to the one we just had. Then that would sort of make more sense, because also you would have people like Lawson who have had a DNF minus 20, but it only takes 20% off. So then you could go for that. Yeah, like Lannister said, it makes for easy decisions, because at the end of the day, it's a lot of variation coming into Silverstone because of how good some drivers are, but it's going to be a variation of Behrman, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Bortoleto, and Alonso. That's the variation that I'm talking about. I'm only there Friday. Oh yeah, well we'll see what happens, because I still don't really know what our schedule is perfectly as well. So I could be anywhere, honestly. it's such a big track as well. I ain't got a Scooby where I'll be. Also, we need to be careful of. Oh yeah, I've talked about that one. I can get to 3 times McLaren, 3 times kick plus Alonso with no hits, and with 5 million in the bank worth. Well, it depends what you're trying to get to, because I still think Sauber will never get more than 45 points in Silverstone like they got in Austria. But it's a good budget call of you get the best. Oh, well, actually, is it a good budget call? Because you don't get Norris increases. Yeah. Yeah, it's still the differential call, isn't it? It's still the one I don't like, just because, again, the only way these sorts of teams work is from DNFs, from the big teams, and I think you're putting too much pressure on your team to be hoping for a DNF, but it still is a half-decent team. I'm starting to think about points versus budget, 100%. I think I can tell you, after Silverstone, when I get that 3.3 million increase, hopefully, touch wood, I can tell you that I will have around 123-ish million in the budget, and that basically opens me up for the rest of the season for where Spa. This is, by the way, the team I'm hoping to get for Spa, for anyone. So it'd probably be Hulkenberg gone, just because he's too much of my budget. And he'll slowly start to drop off more. So Hulkenberg, sadly, if I want to be going to the Russell teams, he would be gone. Now, who would be replacing him? Probably Liam Lawson to get in that budget, because then we've got a lot to play around with. And then you have the likes of Esteban Ocon. He would go up. I'd probably bring in someone like Colapinto, hoping that he had a good weekend. And then we either have Fernando Alonso gone, keeping Bortoleto, depending on what we're looking at. Sorry, my bad. And then we have the likes of this. This is what I'm trying to get to around for Spa. If we have a bit more money, like I mentioned, Colapinto won't be in the team, and then we can keep someone like an Alonso. But we have to wait and see exactly what Silverstone does for us. But that is the plan for Spa before Silverstone's taken place. Norris is useless versus Piastri, man. Got P1 quali and race, still got behind points. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. And again, I talk about this in more depth on the fantasy video this weekend. But Norris, just as a final fix option, it always scares me using him, because fastest lap is between Piastri and Norris half the time, and it's a toss-up between who will get it. It depends on the strategy half the time on who pits latest. So that's why Piastri got fastest lap. Great race from him in general, just to get that second. He could have won the race as well. And then, he's not a liked enough driver at the minute. So Bortoleto got that driver of the day. Because if Norris got 46 points, fair enough. Final fix wouldn't have been the worst call ever. But people just don't like him enough to get driver of the day. And realistically, on final fix, you want a final fix to the driver who's going to win the race, get fastest lap, get maybe, or if they're at the back, get loads of overtake points, get driver of the day. So yeah, that's what you want it. Race win, fastest lap, or starting at the back, overtake points and driver of the day. And I just don't see a time when Norris is going to be like that at a minute. So we'll see exactly how it works. Do you recommend double A team differently if you're going for points? So I would say just be careful if you go double A teams in Silverstone, because it does work 100% if you have the budget, but that's what I'm trying to get at, where if you go too early to the Piastri Russell teams, so let's say you go now and you have just enough to get over, and you literally have Lawson, Colapinto, Bortoletto. So that's not a bad team, but you're going to be stuck at that. Do you remember last season? So I'll take you back to 2024, where I actually sort of made a bit of a boo-boo, where I probably should have lasted one more weekend of not going double Sauber, but it got to the points where we could use the double A teams, where it was you could use, who did we have? I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was double A teams with double A constructor. But it got to a point where I got stuck at having Saubers because I physically couldn't move up. So realistically, I do want to sort of have a cool million or so in the bank when I switch over to Russell builds, just in case something does happen where I'm like, okay, if I could bring up Colapinto to an Alonso, that would be good as well, because then we can have a look at potentially getting to the Piastri Verstappen teams, Piastri Leclerc, Piastri Norris teams, those sorts of teams even further down the line. But I do get what you mean, where it's like you sort of have to just give up at that point, at some point of the season, and just go for points, and Russell isn't a bad A-tier driver like we've seen. Oh, thanks DVS. How did the weekend go for you? Because yeah, Canada wasn't the best weekend, but yeah, we bounced back. I mean, I can show the league standings right now, which is brilliant. Whoops, wrong button. So back into the top 8,000, which is great. I've still got autopilot, I've still got extra DRS, I've still got no negative, and I've still got final fix. I've got 4 of the 6 chips to go in the top 8k. My season, it's an optimistic one, but I want to get back to back top 1,000 in the global leagues, and it's doable. It's going to be hard, but just to put it into context for anyone who is also thinking of the same thing, 100% can be done, because I remember I was in the top 1,000 until Canada in 2024, and then I dropped out of it. I then didn't re-enter the top 1,000 once until Abu Dhabi, where I put 2 times on the club. That is the only time I then ever got back into the top 1,000, and I had a brilliant race weekend at Abu Dhabi, finished around 800 odds. I can see actually where I finished. I finished 886 because of that one call. It was brilliant. I don't know why I'm showing that. So yeah, I'm very happy with how that 2024 season went, and I think it's the same plan heading into the next seasons, exactly where we go from there. But yeah, at the minute, could not complain too much. Would you still do Russell Piastri if the BTs look good as this week going into Spa and Hungary? Here's my thinking. So you're going to probably want to have, like I showed on those teams, you're going to want to have to try to keep the likes of a Bortoletto or an Alonso. And I think if you have one of them, I think that's good enough. But also, if we head over to here, I think someone like Alonso, if he doesn't have a great weekend, could be tinkering on, do we use him, do we not? Someone like Liam Lawson coming in really helps with that as well, because if we can bring in Lawson, like I mentioned, great. And I think that's about it. It really is hoping that Colapinto and Lawson have good weekends, and then we can look about. But I think from the looks of things, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Bortoletto, all going to be good at Spa as well. So I understand going for straight up budget, but I think it will be the first sprint race weekend where I really want to go for points and see exactly what we're playing with. Minus a couple of lateral moves here and there, I've been following advice religiously, won my league the last 2 years. Hey, yeah, let's go DVS. Well, hey, here's to another season of winning. I'm very happy for you, man. Yeah, we've been doing really bloody good. Jazz says, not feeling too confident about Piastri, and then, so here's the thing. So, of course, Antonelli, not really usable. until Spa or Hungary. And I actually put out a little poll. And you could do Piastri Antonelli, but I think come to that point, let's see what Norris does if he starts picking up the F1 Fantasy points elsewhere. But we might be seeing teams where it's equal value to go Norris Antonelli or Piastri Russell. But it's a clean sweep right now for Piastri Russell, and I think I do agree. I would rather go Piastri Russell than Norris Antonelli. But at the same time, Antonelli would then become a differential because Antonelli will be getting 0.6 millions if he just doesn't bloody crash. If he just doesn't crash. And then that would be absolutely perfect. Any ETA for Piastri Norris engine penalties? Looking for a final fix option? I don't think anytime soon. I think they've been really good on their parts, haven't they, McLaren? I mean, we haven't had any. I haven't heard any news on it so far. I'd be very surprised if they took one. I know a lot of when was it? A lot of people sometimes take one in Spa, so that would be a great weekend for. Let's say Norris took one in Spa or Piastri did. However, just be careful because we saw what happened in Spa last season where it's quite hard to overtake at some points. But 100%, if we do get an engine penalty soon, final fix me up, please. What would you do differently if you were going all for points? So this weekend, if I was going all for points, I don't think much would change. Realistically, let me get to the teams. If we were going all out points, without thinking about DNFs, without thinking about budget gains, it would probably be right now Ferrari or Mercedes. I do think cooler temperatures could play into Mercedes, but I'd stick with Ferrari for now. Not Gasly. Alonso and Hulkenberg I would keep. They've been absolutely phenomenal. 100%. Probably wouldn't actually bring in Bortoletto. I would probably go for... Is there anyone I would? Not Yuki, not Lance. No, it really would be Ocon. I don't think a lot changes when we look at these teams heading into Silverstone for budget at least. Literally, the only one is, like I mentioned, if you're not going for... If we weren't thinking about budget and you can afford it, potentially, even, like, obviously if you can't afford Russell, it would be something like this. Hang on, Mercedes down to Ferrari, down to Mercedes, and then Ocon. You could easily bring in something like this if you're fully looking just at points. But again, it's such a shame because I love being like, yeah, sure, you can just look at points, but with this team, you physically can't. You're screwing yourself so much over for Spa, which is so annoying because realistically, if it was last season, I would be telling everyone probably to hop on this team because we would have one race average. I don't know why I'm saying average. It's just one race where the budgets go up. So Antonelli would be prime time to bring him in. Lawson, again, would be prime time to bring him in. So this team would actually work budget and points in last season's... in last season's points and budget, not points, in last season's budget movements they did. It's just so annoying. I'll get back onto the budget thing because, like, I remember last season I was like, yeah, sure, I could. We need a shape up on how budgets work because there was too many like jumps and leaps. But we didn't want it like this. We did not want it like this. Verstappen and Leclerc took 20 penalty position engine penalties last year. Who didn't take one last year? This is really gonna bring my F1 knowledge into contention here. I ain't got Scooby who brought one. I know it was an engine in Spa, wasn't it, for Verstappen, right? It was, wasn't it? Yeah, we 100% minus 20's ridiculous. Well, I've always had my difference of how, and I think this is pretty much agreed throughout the space of DNFs / did not starts should be no more than minus 10. I'd probably put them at a minus 5 still. Minus 5, minus 10. Just anything below that works. I would also have fastest lap because fastest lap is useful, but it shouldn't be 10 points. Fastest lap for me should be 5 points. Drive of the day should be 3 points or nothing, or maybe 1, 2, 3 points. I also like the F1 Fantasy bonus, the FPL bonus system where there's like a different set of points. So if anyone plays FPL, I've mentioned this before, they have points that don't get actually put on as actual fantasy points, where you get points for being the best on the grid, not the grid, on the team. And then you get an extra 1 point, 2 point, or 3 points to your fantasy, whoever's done really well. And I like that sort of thinking of you give 3 points to the driver who statistically, so it's not driver of the bloody day, statistically has had a really good race, like overtakes, position, all of that stuff. And they get bonus off that criteria instead of letting the public decide it, because driver of the day just doesn't make sense half the time. Do you have an FPL chat? No, I'm rubbish at FPL. No, obviously I watch football and stuff, but I'm not as up to date on everything with football as I am with F1. So I just play FPL for fun with my mates. If you think Final Fix when he took, did you think Final Fix when he took engine penalty last year? I remember. Who did I bring in? I can actually show everyone who I brought. No, does it show the teams? No, actually, I remember exactly what happened last year. Last year, I overslept the Spa deadline and didn't actually change my team. I remember I had Red Bull over Mercedes, looked absolutely dreadful, and then Russell got the disqualification, and then I was sort of just sitting there like, I did not make the right call, but somehow I ended up with better points. This is crazy. Why it is hot in here. Right, I'll be on for another 10 minutes, then I'm going to start getting ready the Grand Prix review for all of you. That will come out later today. Just need to record it. I'm going to have some fun with it because those videos are a little less serious and we just talk about what happened in the race, qualifying, practice, F1 Fantasy, all of that good stuff. As an early is frustrating. So many DNFs are making it hard to bring him in as an early. Yeah, bro, honestly, it is doing my nutting because literally, how long have we been talking about bringing Kimi Antonelli in? And every time he does something stupid. I remember it was, after Miami, we could be looking at Piastri Antonelli builds potentially. It's going to be great. Italy, he's out. Can't be using him. Come to Canada, we're like, perfect. All he's got to do is just hold it one more race weekend. And he's definitely going to be an option to buy. He's going to be 0.6 million budget increases. It's going to be great. Austria, DNF. He just needs to keep it clean and not have mechanical issues. Obviously, one of those he can't control, but Mercedes need to fix up. Also, I can see the battery is about to end on my camera, so give me 1 second. There we are. Should be coming back to you. Let me put this on charge for recording the video later. There we go. It will give it a minute and it should put me back on. Yeah, there I am. Nice. Nice. I'm expecting Williams to be really good around Silverstone. If you're good on budget, it might be worth it for the points, even with the certain. Well, this is the thing, isn't it? If you go for the triple McLaren, like Piastri, Norris, McLaren, sorts of teams with Williams, I get for points. But again, it's so frustrating because I really do get what you're talking about 100% of Williams looking good in Silverstone. I'm also picking them to have a good weekend. But let's head back over to the budget building. They need 90 points to go up 0.6 million, and it's so frustrating. But in F1 Fantasy, with the way it works this season, you can't not look at the budget. You can't, piecause otherwise, like we're gonna see it in Silverstone. We saw it in Austria. People already could run Piastri, Russell, McLaren, Mercedes teams. It didn't work out because of Mercedes DNF. But we're gonna be seeing it in Silverstone again. And if Mercedes don't DNF, it's gonna work out there. It's just so frustrating. Yeah. By the way, liking your participation in Fan App as well. I see you're more active in contribution there. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting more into the feel of it. Obviously, I remember the first few episodes, you're finding your feet on how the chemistry works, how I fit into the sort of team, and now I think it feels just so smooth. And the Terry and Adam, great guys, so that makes it really easy as well. Again, I don't have to edit that F1 Fantasy video, which is just... Because I know the F1 Fantasy videos post FP2, they don't take long because I speed run through it. I basically do the quickest rush edit to get it out just in time. But I remember those best teams for F1 Fantasy videos. Oh my god, they used to take me like 4 or 5 hours to edit. I especially at the time, obviously I would have been in uni, so I had a bit more time for that. But now at work, if I was doing 4 or 5 hours of editing, oh my god, it'd be a nightmare. It'd be an absolute nightmare. So that is the best part about it. And of course, that is another thing that attracted me to the FanAmp thing is. I say thing, the fantasy formula thing is I'm now in a position where I'm lucky to have these opportunities like where we're going to Silverstone because hey, maybe one day Zach GP just individually will get invited this channel to do something like that. But right now it wouldn't happen without FanAmp, so that is very, very fortunate to have that because this is my first time going to Silverstone as well, so I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing. Do you think Piastri Russell builds is viable in your budget if Spa? Yes. So Rebecca, yeah, I think we're in a similar position where, hear me out. So what we need to happen is we need Lawson to have a good weekend now. And if Lawson has a good weekend, all we have to do is take rid of the likes of Hulkenberg and Ocon, drop them down to Lawson, maybe someone like this. Whoopsie, it did not scroll. Put it down to value. Lawson, Bortoletto, Colapinto. Those are the sorts of teams we want to be heading towards. My bad, without Ferrari. For Spa, if we want to be going for that. I think the balance, 100%. Or because what's it called? Terry comes from more of the updates and knowing how the cars are developing, so we get all of the scoop on that. And then me and Adam just literally bloody love F1 Fantasy, so live and breathe it sort of stuff, which really blends well together. Hey, how you doing, man? Good to see you in the chat. But right, what is the time? Right, I will be on for another 5 minutes. 5 more minutes, just because it's getting really hot in here. So I'm gonna need to open the window, and I can't have the window open because when I'm doing these sorts of things, because basically straight out that window is the street. Shit ton of people walking past, and it's like, it's no bueno. Would love to see a video specifically on mini league strategy. I have all my chips. Oh, I see what you mean. So right, like if you were to just like bang out like a mini league, just like straight up on points sort of thing. Also, my bad. I've just realised the team I showed, it wouldn't have Colapinto. It would have obviously Russell there. That's what we're going for. I have all chips still in my team too, so I was wondering what the best way would be to use them. Right, so what is the next mini league coming up? I haven't actually looked at the mini leagues for a while. So we've got a 2020, we got the McLaren Live mini league. Let me join that. You know what? Let me join that right now. So Spa, Silverstone, Spa, Hungary. Right. So if you wanted to use all your chips just for this mini league, Britain, if there is rain, and 100%, probably if there's not, we get a few DNFs. We're having those soft tyres as well. We know what happens with Pirelli sometimes with softer tyres around Silverstone. Remember how Hamilton won that race before? Didn't even have 4 tyres on his car, basically. So keep an eye on that. No negative would be the option I'd use for Silverstone. Then coming into Belgium, it would be the likes of Limitless. Or, depends what your budget is. Limitless, if you don't have the budget to use extra DRS because you've not got 2 A-tier drivers and 2 A-tier constructors. Then Hungary, I would come around and probably say whichever of... Hungary, right. There we go. I've got it straight for you. So Silverstone would be no negative. Belgium would be extra DRS. Hungary, low overtake track. Easy peasy, Limitless. That is how we would do it if you want to bang out the mini league. So that is Zach GP's bona fide mini league sort of strategy, I guess you could call it. Finally got the second race, so I didn't get the DNF. The second race. Wait, hang on. I'm a little bit confused with that. So mad. Every time I pick sign, something happens to him. Yeah, no. I mentioned this as well on Twitter as well, and earlier on this video. That is such an unfortunate way. I really do think did not starts especially as well. How did not starts -20s? Like, that is so harsh. I think, hey, I would say this is being really generous to it. I would say did not starts, just don't give them any points. Like, just get the qualifying points, and they physically can't get points in the race. Just a blank state 0, or -10 or -5. Even -10 feels a little harsh, because it did not start. Like, come on. Like, there's no way you're gonna like predict that. So it's so like a DNF is harsh, of course, 100%, and we still think that is too harsh. But it did not start another level of, well, I've just been completely screwed over here. What could I have done? Like, yeah, it should just be a slap bang. Can't score any points in the race. You're just out. So Sainz would have got 0 points, sort of thing for me. But have you seen also as well? I need to talk to you about this. How has it happened again? I 2 times Bortoletto on the green team. He got 50 points. The green team got more than the I don't even know what this team is, but the green team is meta, man. It's ridiculous. Plans for British GP. Or can a Bortoletto win? Yeah, that's basically it. 100%. I'll see when Mercedes are, but right now it's the predicted lineup is Hadjar and Gasly out for Ocon and Bortoletto. I'm so glad. Yeah, I know. It's like, annoying. Gasly didn't get those 5 points, but at the end of the day, much better than what Sainz got. Yeah, like, what is... I love how, like, since we've been doing this, we've probably scored more points with this bloody team. I mean, let's look at the league standings for Team 2 and Team 3, like the joke teams. Where are they both? Oh, no, okay, fair enough. That green team still is a little bit further behind. In that sense, this season my drivers got DNS. Oh, I see. And now in China yesterday, the second ones were fine. I get what you mean. Yeah. Oh, that's actually an interesting. Let me see how many DNF non-DNF races I've had. So we've had Austria, no DNFs. Don't even have to look at Canada. I know I had one. Spain, I don't think I had. So I've had Austria, Spain, Monaco. Did I have anyone in Monaco? No, Hulkenberg didn't DNF though. Monaco. Imola did. Miami. Miami did technically have a DNF. No. Miami technically no, but it just still Antonelli and Verstappen doing each other's weird stuff. Saudi. Wow. Okay. To be fair enough. Oh my god, I didn't realize how many no DNFs I had this season. That's 6. Okay. Japan definitely no, with only 140. Japan, yes, 7. Whoa. Okay. China, 8. Yeah, 8. Okay, fair enough. I didn't realize just how good that was. Holy moly. Have you seen the F1 movie? Not yet. My schedule is really busy, so I'm going to go see it next week maybe, or the week after. So I'll give you guys all my opinion of what I think about it then. But I've heard some good things about it. Obviously, it's Hollywood. It's going to be Hollywood stuff. But from the sounds of things, I will enjoy it. And then finally, my green team is getting more budget than my main team almost every race. No, it's actually ridiculous, isn't it? Actually, let me take the budget on the green team. Considering when we started it, man. If green team has more than 110 million, it's the new meta. Yeah, okay. Mine's only got 103.8. I was gonna bloody say. So I probably wouldn't do it as a full video just because I don't really know what I review about it, but I'll probably do like a short on it and just be like, watched it, thought this was good, thought this was bad, and then give a rating sort of thing. A guess on Silverstone driver of the day, probably between Hamilton, Norris, Russell. Straight away, be surprised if Norris got it. Even with, maybe with the win this weekend. But I think Hamilton normally always brings something out of the bag. So look out for the Hamilton, like you mentioned. If Hamilton gets on the podium, he's getting driver of the day. If Russell wins, I think he'd get driver of the day. Keep an eye out on someone like Behrman as well. If Behrman gets into the points, I think he's on for a driver of the day as well. Yes. Austria GP review, I'm going to be recording literally in 10 minutes. So once I get off this live stream, I'm going to record it and then I'll start editing it at work. So it will probably come out a bit late today, probably 9-10 o'clock at night. But I'll get it out for you guys. But anyway, yeah, I want to go Hamilton. See, I wish I could do something like that. It's just in the back of my head, I can never get that like demon stopping. It's like 48 points. He's not going to get it. Can't go for the budget. Can't go for the budget. But right, anyway. Thank you all so much for watching. Keep an eye out on the Fantasy Formula video over on the Fan Amp. Well, when's that coming out? It'll be Tuesday, I think. So keep an eye on that good stuff. It looks like a pretty slap bang normal weekend of knowing sort of, you know, mix it up with the BTA drivers potentially. But a lot of people are going to be running the same teams, just which constructor do you choose again. But as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you all in about a few hours for my Austrian GP review.